Welcome back to the channel, and today we're going to try to make a custom miniature out of the Cadian upgrade sprue. I want to make a loader for my artillery piece, the big basilisk. I got two of them, and I've made a loader with the other one using some stuff like that, but I wanted to crack open another new one of these. This is the second box of these I've opened for this commission, and I want to make like a guy who's like loading the round into the tube. I have the other one I created is like somebody who's just like sitting there on standby with a round in their hand. And we're gonna get down into the paint cam and we're gonna go over the thought process. We're gonna go actually into building it and then kind of the results of said experiment. So let's get down into it. All right, so we have our kit. We'll open that up here in a second and kind of examine that. And first I want to show you, this is not done. This is probably about 80 to 90% done. I still got to like paint all. It's mostly the green and the weathering. I still got to paint like the details like this, and I need to paint some of the more of the browns and stuff like that. But the thing that we're talking about today is this breech that I made. So fun thing is, this is actually the inside piece, and this outside piece right here are actually from the Scout's spotlight. That's gonna sound crazy. This is the back of the spotlight. This is the front of the spotlight with a hole drilled in to the middle of it. It didn't come out the greatest. It didn't come out super clean, but you know what? It filled in that space quite nicely and actually gave it some detail like on the bottom here. If I could go back, I would probably, I don't know if I would still put that at the bottom or maybe off to the side to kind of cover up all this right here to make this just look cohesive. But I really liked the results and the idea. But as you can see, I got some footprints here. I already have like the commander basically that comes with this kit. We're going to take the hunter killer missile, turn it into a round, just like I did on the previous kit. And I basically want it to be like being loaded in, and the person is loading it. Let's jump back to the face cam real quick. So as a former artilleryman, I would like and am taking extra pride into this artillery-based army. So let's get down and dirty to this. Let's move him out of the way for now. First step is going to be this hunter killer missile. So the part that we're actually going to snip off all the wings, and we're actually going to take off this piece right here, and we're going to turn, let me get my blade out here. We're going to turn this section right here into the front. We're going to totally snip this part off and snip this back piece off right here and snip the fins off. All right, so this is going to be our round. We're going to clean this up. I'm not going to torch you with, basically, we're going to just cut off all these little extra pieces here. The nice thing is that we keep a little bit of detail from like this like connection piece right here. So it looks like this is like the head and this is the body. The only thing you really got to worry about when you're doing this is this connection piece, fit point, that's supposed to be for the hunter killer missile. But we'll cover that up with some sprue goo. Let's get back to it here in a second. All right, we got that all cleaned up. Finished it off with some light sandpaper. And now we have this beautiful, beautiful round. Let me get you zoomed in here a little bit. Now we have this beautiful round. It's got some detail kept on it. You can still see some sharp edges. We'll give it a little bit more love probably. But this end is pretty much going to be in the barrel, so I'm not too worried about it being perfect. But we got all the rough stuff off, and I still have got a gap, fill that hole that I was talking about. I might end up, you know what? Hold on. Where are you at on the opposite? You are literally on the opposite side. I might not be worried about it. I actually might use that as like a point to like put a hand or something. We'll figure it out later. That's the whole point of this, right? Let's figure it out. Let's get back to the regular cam. Put that off to the side, and let's crack open this box. Hopefully I don't need to like substitute from like a different box or something like that. I'm hoping to be able to utilize this. Technically, there's not a whole lot of like leg and body options in here. but there's a lot of arms and nice screaming heads and stuff like that. So what I'm kind of hoping for is I can kind of bash some of these legs together. Um, Hopefully I don't have to steal from another kit. I have a feeling I may need to steal from another kit, because I'm not quite sure of what legs that we have here, like left versus rights. So let's go ahead and get off all the questionable pieces that we could probably use today out of these two kits. Let's get to it. All right, so we got some pieces here flipped out and the chests went together. So I got two chests. I picked the head. There were only 4 legs in the kit, and I got roughly 3 arms. Well, four one side, 3 kind of fit. There's plenty of others on here that would go. Most of these we're obviously gonna have to remove, like handles and hatchets and wrenches and all kinds of stuff, but we're gonna see what we can get. The only unfortunate so far that I'm seeing is it looks like basically both these kits are meant to be in like this crouching position, like this right here, and then I think this one goes together too. Yeah, and it's meant to be in like this crouching position. These are the legs I used on my previous one, but this one I want like up and like loading. They're basically the same. Great. All right. So unfortunately, we are gonna have to get the legs that we want, because I want them kind of. What the goal is, I want like one leg down here, one leg up here, like like a hand pushing the back of the round in, is the look that I'm going for. So I think let's go ahead and just kind of go with the arms. We got a piece here. Let's get zoomed in a little bit. Working here, right here. So we got piece here. It's got nice little on the front. You won't see that at all probably in this model, because it's going to end up more like in this like 45 position like this right here. So I'm not too worried about that one. This one, kind of wearing suspenders, nothing really crazy. Got one little pouch. I haven't cleaned it up at all. You can definitely see like his like suspenders in the back. Oh, I kind of like that. All right. And we'll probably snip this little grenade off. It'll probably end up getting away with like a leg lifting up, which wouldn't be the end of the world, because I wouldn't want a grenade next to my artillery piece anyway. And let's kind of see how the head probably will fit in there then. Oh yeah, it'll be, we'll probably snip off a little bit so we can get it more like pushed back, because I want this is gonna be like looking up, more like looking into the breach is the plan here. You know what? I have a bit box. I'm going to look through my bit box and see if I have any extra legs that might work for this project. All right, so unfortunately, we are going to be busting into a Kitty and Shock Troop kit for some legs. So like stuff like this right here is what we're looking for. What's fine about this is that it has 2 other legs. I already kind of cleaned up what we're not using here. So I'm going to dig into this box real quick and see what legs we can get to do what I want to do. All right, I think I figured it out. There's a lot of back and forth. I'm actually using a leg, one leg from the Acadian Troop and one leg from the upgrade sprue with this idea here. So what we have is the leg with the upgrade sprue that's kind of like toed down, or like his toe, let me get in the middle there, sorry. Where his toe is kind of pressed, because it's meant to be like, he's meant to be like on his knee. That's why this is flat. So it's more like this. I wanted this. Hold on. This is the piece I found that I was trying to work with. I was looking like this, where he's like stepped up on a step and he's pushing in the round. But I think if I just do this instead, I'll get a more cohesion base too, and less kitbash smash that I'm gonna have to do. So I think, and then I found this leg who is meant to be like raised off his toe, so he's like power pushing. At first I was having an issue. I was thinking like somebody who's right-handed, and this person is going to be left-handed, so it's going to be more like this right here, and it pretty much marries up perfectly using these 2 kits to get it kind of like this right here. So he's going to be on his toes and on his knee and on his other toe. So I kind of like it. Let's I'm afraid to glue it together. It's not quite, there's something pushing against. I think it's this little back piece here. Yeah. I'm gonna snip this away real quick. It creates a gap later on. It's something I easily just fix. Let's see how that fits. Yeah, that doesn't look terrible. So it gets a knife and a pouch. Yeah, I like it. Let's glue it up and yeah, let's glue it up and see how it looks. Let's let that sit for a sec. All right, so I stopped there. I can already see that it's not super lined up. Well, if you get the torso section where it's supposed to just sit, it doesn't really line up with the legs to the toe. Oops, sorry, I'm off camera. Or it doesn't really line up with this being a flat surface and this toe. We're gonna have to give it a little bit of a kick, and to do that without making it look crazy, we're gonna cut off the connection nub here. Let me give that a little scrapey action here, and we'll jump back to it once this is glued together and looking a little bit better. All right, so we got that kind of set the way it's going to be. It's going to be more like with his foot hanging off, so the toe's not as represented as I was hoping. Maybe I can finagle that and make it look a little bit better. It's setting right now. As you can tell, it's still super wet, but I think we got the look that we're looking for. So it's going to be like that right there. Will this be a problem? Oh, the grenade's really not a problem. Maybe it will. Ooh, this pouch, this knife. The knife looked like it got bent a little bit. Ugh. Let's kind of... So if he's going to be like this, we want him pushing. He's left-handed, so him being a little forward this way is going to be okay. But he's like, ugh. So being offset like that is going to be fine. Okay. I might actually hide. Nothing too crazy going on in the back. And this pouch that's on here, this little pouch here, is perfectly covering up like this little gap right here. Look at that. Boop. Boop. I'm still going to use some sprue goo. Let me bust out the sprue goo. And we're going to put that right here on top, which is going to help cure this even more. And hopefully to fill in that space that we're missing. That we're going to go over. Mostly using this because we're dealing with a gap. A little heavy on that end. Right. There's where it wants to sit naturally, which I'm kind of okay with. Still really lines up well. Did actually end up with a small gap, but it's actually over here. Might have to come back and fill that gap with some like green stuff or something. Is it the knife? Try to slide it in. Nope, it's just there. A little bit more of a twist on the body. There we go. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, that was it right there. We got it right into place. The way that looks pretty okay. And it's slightly like offset from his direction. So now we're going to give him a forward right arm. Wait a minute, no. So he's like pushing forward. Oh my god, I got to think about this as a righty. We actually want him a little bit more over his leg there. So if he's like that and he's pushing off, he's pushing with his left arm. So let's get a left arm here. It's gonna be this could work, and we'll just cut off the box. And we literally have him just like punching the round in. Yep. And left hand. If we're gonna cut anything off, that would be simple. It'll probably be this. I can make it like his hands on the. These two bad boys it is. They're both cuffed the same, so it's not gonna look ugly or anything like that. I'm not gonna put his head on until I got everything clean and ready in a hundo. Whew! The video's turning out to be a little bit longer than I anticipated. All right, I'm gonna snip these two pieces off and try to be very, very careful enough to be able to keep these two bits. And I'll be right back. All right, I was actually able to do a really good job on that. I'm gonna get zoomed in even more here. You can actually see that I was able to keep some of the finger details. It's not 100% cleaned up. This one came out a little flat, but shockingly, you still have a little bit of finger detail. And kind of the same thing with this one. I still got to work off a little bit more down here at the bottom, but you still got like knuckles and stuff like that. So I think this is gonna kind of work out. And clean this up a little bit more, and we'll start attaching him. He should be dry enough to start working with now. All right, let's start messing with these arms. It's cleaned up. He's still actually a little bit movable in his torso, so I'm not going to try to beat him up too much, but I got most of the mold lines cleaned up. Actually, I didn't clean them up on the arms. I just thought about that. That one's not bad. That one's got a little one on the shoulder. Let's clean that real fast. Sorry. That simple. Boom. All right. So that is his right, and that is his left. We want his left arm's going to be like more of like a punch motion going on. There we go. Hopefully that's good. I'm not quite sure what. Do we want to just attach this to this? Is that going to be the easy answer? I think that's going to be the easy answer. Yep, that's going to be the easy answer, isn't it? Oy, oy, oy. All right, let's get that end up right there. That's literally what we want right there. Just boop. Look like I actually need to do a little sand action on the round. It's not quite as flat as I'd like it to be. I think that's going to get the point across. Yeah. All right, we're going to let that sit right there for a minute, just like that. I'm going to put a little bit more glue in right there. And we're going to let that sit for a minute, and we'll be right back. All right, it has been like probably close to 20 to 30 minutes. That is on there pretty good now. I didn't want to take any chances with this. So now I think we can maybe. I also found, I was digging around, I found this little pouch. Thought it might be kind of cool to put on his back. If anything gets a little wonky, I could just kind of just put it on him like this. And just kind of give him a little bit more depth and kind of cover up anything that might be a little weird. So I think that'll be kind of cool down the line here. To kind of really get the placement, I'm gonna get everything off the mat here. And we're going to bring down the whole purpose of this bad boy is this guy right here. Again, we have this open breech, and the goal is to kind of get him looking like he's loading the round in. So roughly kind of like this. With his knee up. I got in there a lot further than I thought. Kind of works. Not too terrible. Let's get a side profile here. I wanted a little bit more out. His toe might not matter as much. I'm thinking if I can get it to sit right there, kind of in that notch, it'll hide anything. But it does look a little weird with his toe out like that. Maybe if I twist the round just a little bit, there's a little bit more. And he's a little bit more straight on than I originally planned on to do this. More like this. Which would totally negate this entire left or right leg. It's not terrible. I could just totally yoink off. He looks ridiculous like that. No, it doesn't look bad. Still see the round. I'll paint the round a different metallic color than the breech where it sticks out. The toe doesn't look too ridiculous. I could probably put some sprue goo on the toe to kind of make it work. I think I like it. I like it. I like it. We'll make it work. Right. He is literally just waiting on the command of go. So slight angle up on the head. Make sure he's kind of facing. Make sure he's facing his fist. That's what his target is. His target is the round. Yep. Just like that. He's kind of looking right at his fist. Calling out what he's doing. Yep, I like it. And then his arm. Straight down to his side. Originally was thinking about taking off the grenade. I kind of like it now. It'll give me an extra contact point right here too. Boop. 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 It did get a little wonky back here. You can tell that like the pant line is messed up. So yeah, let's get this pouch on here to kind of cover up this chaos back here. Wrong with an extra pouch. We'll rock it a little high. And I want it set up here first. To cut away and file away to kind of get it to sit flush. Yeah, so we're just gonna take away all this back here. To hide the unevenness, we will just cut it away. All right, let's do a dry fit first. Dry fit, dry fit, dry fit. I always harp dry fit. Might cut away a little bit of this just to kind of get this a little bit more flush. Yeah, buddy. I like it. All right, let's set it. And we're using this to change the angle. The angle was coming this way and then went up because of the connection and over, and we're using this to long piece to kind of guide from one side to the other as to what is a straight line. All right, we're gonna let that sit for a minute and we'll be back again. All right. I think I'm kind of happy here. Let's give him a little test fit. Let me get this pointed over here. You know what I just thought of? This downfall of this is going to really kill the articulation of this, which is fine because It shouldn't be really moving that much anyway. If someone is loading it, it should technically be in the down position anyway. So he's gonna look, I took the tack off, pretty much like that right there. His toes are up like I wanted. So it looks like he's really pushing in that round. His knee will be right in front of like the sidebar. Let me see if I can spin him around again without it falling off. And it looks like he's looking. I wonder if his head is still a little bit pliable. He's definitely looking at his hand and not the breech. See if I can twist his head a little bit more. Yeah. All right. Now it looks like he's looking more at the breech instead of his hand. I think I was targeting his hand more. And he'll stand up a little bit taller too once I have him set. You know what? I'm kind of stoked about our little modified guy here. I could have went with the one without the bent toe, but it still worked out in the end. I can put a dab of sprue goo or something on there to kind of round that out so it looks the part. And other than some sanding and some cleaning, I would say this guy looks pretty awesome. I'm happy with how he came out. He just needs a little bit more sanding love. I'm gonna let him set a little bit longer for he's 100%, especially with like this little pouch and stuff like that. Just little details like that. And really happy with how he came out. All right, that's gonna be it for this one today. A little bit of behind the scenes kit bashing slash conversion, whatever, kind of just making a model how I want it to be, basically using the same army, but using pieces from it to make different kits to make the exact guy that I want to make. And I'm really happy with the results. Can't wait to get this guy painted up and primed up and painted up to go on to this and get this project done. I got 2 of these that I need to get completed probably in the next bit, so that'll be a future video on that being finished. And as always, every stroke of the brush and swing of the blade adds character to your miniature. YouTube thinks you'll like this video right here, and if you'd like to subscribe, click this button right here, and I'll see you in the next one.